Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Blue Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. My apologies, man. Drove up here to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and started gutting out a bathroom yesterday, and it is a long set of stairs out and going out in the rain, and I did my fireside chat last night, which I didn't have a fire, um, and I was just exhausted. And I did, after it finished uploading, I didn't actually make it live, and I realized that this morning at about 6:30. So my apologies for not getting that out last night. I was just beat, and then of course from all the stairs, man, I had leg cramps galore, and there's nothing worse than getting leg cramps at about 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like it's like a rattlesnake bites you, clamps on. It's like ah. Anyway, be that as it may, today's another day, and I'll be right back at it. And probably have cramps again tonight, but we'll be having our live stream at 9 o'clock tonight. So I hope you tune in. I did not think that this was in any way possible that Dak Prescott wouldn't be the most hated player on the Dallas Cowboys by the fans and the media. But here we go. The talk is not. Now, here's the thing: Dak Prescott. They're working supposedly on Dak Prescott's long-term deal, which will be $60 million or somewhere around in there. That's what we're told. Or maybe what they're doing is they're carpet bombing. They're carpet bombing ahead and saying 60 million, and then if it ends up being 58 or 57, then everybody, oh well, at least it's not 60. And I've pointed out how with the salary cap going up, the percentage the percentage of the quarterback pay really has not changed. You're still looking at under 15% of the salary cap going to the quarterback, which seems like a lot. But right now, Dak Prescott has not been over 10%, with the exception of the 1 year he was franchise tagged. And that's on Jerry Jones and them. They're the ones that make these deals. But Catboy needs to sharpen his pencil and get one that is beneficial to both sides. But figuring that, the whole trade Dak, cut Dak, get rid of Dak, Dak's a bum, and everything else, those calls have kind of died down, and now the bandwagon is Micah Parsons. Did Micah Parsons throw his teammates under the bus? Well, let me say this, as far as that goes. Would you rather him say, everybody... Oops. Slid the chair out, messed it up. Would you rather him say, no, we're good with everybody, we don't need anything, and just run back the same results? It's not like people, and this is where Jay Tuck pointed out yesterday, everybody was on board while we still had people here during the season. Let's get Odell Beckham Jr., which would, of course, been kicking Michael Gallup and Noah Brown to the curb, right? It's no disrespect to, the guys on the team, that if you say, if we can get Chris Jones in here, everybody recognizes that's an upgrade over everybody you got on the defensive line. And it's not like we haven't heard people go out and say, let's go out and get this guy, that guy, and the other guy, because everybody has their wish list or things that we should try and do in the draft. I mean, let's be clear here. If we had enough talent to win the Super Bowl, then yeah, if we were loaded in every position, yeah, I would say that you are. If it were, I don't know, if you were sitting here and saying that you were in San Francisco and you got Bosa and you got Hargrave and you've got Armstead and you got this guy, and then you kind of say, yeah, we need to replace such and such. He didn't go on to say we need to replace any certain individual. He's saying bring in other players. And understand that's also a rotation. But the amount of criticism and things that he's getting, it's unbelievable. So let me see if I get this straight. A guy who has done something that only Reggie White has done. Started his career with 40 or more sacks. A guy who was originally brought in to be a linebacker has become one of the best edge rushers. A guy who was a defensive MVP candidate. That guy's a bum. That's a guy to trade. So let me ask you this. If we trade Micah Parsons, what are you expecting to get back? That's all I want to know. What are you expecting to get back? If the Cowboys trade like they typically do, will they trade an Amari Cooper for a 5th round? What do you think they trade Micah Parsons for? 3rd? Oh, maybe they'll get crazy and do a 2nd. Yeah, that's it. We'll get rid of Micah Parsons for a 2nd round pick because we always do great things with those. And getting picks doesn't always mean that you're going to get better. Because, see, this goes to the adage of a bird in the hand beats 2 in the bush. You got one right here, right now. You got this bird in your hand. You got a hold of him, okay? He's probably pooping on your hand. But you trying to get those 2 in the bush, letting this one go? Those guys, first of all, you don't know if it's a sticker bush. You might be trying to go in that bush and all of a sudden, you're getting cut up. Second thing, that bird's going to hop around in the bush and then fly off. And then you got nothing. Yeah. You got nothing. You remember when the Raiders traded Khalil Mack to the Bears? How'd that work out for them? Did they become a better team? Did they go to the playoffs on a regular basis? Did they win the Super Bowl? Finding really good players is hard in the NFL. It's really hard. And what you want to do when you do find really good players is make the most of it and surround them with other really good players to try and make a run. Yeah. Let's listen to ESPN before I get back over to this house to get to work.
If the Ravens signed Derrick Henry,
Brady, I would not be shocked. Listen, the writing's been on the wall for Derrick Henry in Tennessee. And right now, the Ravens are one of, presumably, the favorite to land him. When you think about their offense, he's a piece they need. But imagine pairing him with Lamar Jackson. He may not be the same guy he was a few years ago when he was leading the league in rushing yards back-to-back years, but no guys want to tackle him.
you want to talk about thunder and lightning with him and Lamar Jackson. How about another running back? Saquon. Would you be shocked if Saquon returned to the Giants?
Tricky, but I would not be shocked, and here's why. Joe Shane, the GM, and Brian Dable, they did not draft him, but John Mara has said he would love for Saquon to retire a Giant. I understand the financials here, I understand the position, but Saquon, the way he's carried himself, he's always wanted to retire a Giant, so it would not shock me if both sides after last year figure out a way to make it happen.
We had a good debate on radio yesterday about just what the Giants need to do to be right by him. It's an interesting question.
Yes.
Finally, how about the shocks in Dallas? Dak,
Here we go.
ZD, and Micah. Would you be shocked if they all get contract extensions this offseason?
All right, here we go. I would be shocked. I know this is what Dallas needs to happen, but I think when you look at all three, someone has to wait. I understand you want to pay all three of them, but does it have to be this year? Dak is the priority. Fix his contract and soon to keep him beyond this year. But I think with Micah and CD, one of those guys has to wait.
Well, we'll see.
You're stupid.
Micah already has his side business. Now,
This is where they're stupid, okay? Because we keep thinking that, oh man, they're going to make him $60 million a year. You will get cap relief because right now you have a $59 million cap hit. I know it doesn't make sense to some people when you say you're going to pay him $60 million a year, but see, that money is spread out. It's spread out. It's spread out. It's not all you're paying $60 million on the cap. Forget about the per year. What is the cap hit? Dak Prescott's cap hit will probably be in the 20s with the new deal. CeeDee Lamb, who's almost $18 million right now, will probably be about 8 or 9. You will create more cap space by signing those guys. Micah Parsons will, because he's only at $5 million right now. That one you may wait on because it's such a low number now that it will increase. But you're going to create cap room. This is where you listen to ESPN. Sometimes you say, "What are you talking about?"
Stephen A. Smith's new co-host on First Take. I'm not sure if you've seen or heard this, but he went on the Stephen A. Smith show the other day, and he did his best imitation of Sharon
literally
Sharp.
last
Listen
weekend.
to this.
Besides Patrick Mahomes, what other quarterback in the AFC has accomplished anything to get more credit than Dak?
Joe Burrow. Josh Allen.
Did he finish?
No. But they got further.
It doesn't matter how far you get. If you're going home and you're not entering the ring, it doesn't matter. What have they done?
They've done more than that.
Josh Allen almost made it to the NFL Super Bowl.
He made it to an AFC championship.
It doesn't matter. He couldn't beat the number one guy. It doesn't matter. He couldn't beat the number one guy. He couldn't beat the number one guy.
Joe Burrow beat the number one.
And then he lost to Stafford. He lost to Stafford.
Okay,
Mind you, if we're saying that getting to one AFC championship game is making you a great player, then we all need to reevaluate Danny White, who got to 3.
Granny, hear me out, Granny. Hear me out.
What are we
The
doing?
more I watch this clip,
Yeah.
it's hilarious.
Hilarious.
It is hilarious.
It is.
And so part of me is like, you know what? Micah, bring that guy here, because he literally could bang with us on this desk. But here's the problem. Micah's
Bang
24
with us.
years old, and he's a Dallas Cowboy. Like, that is the problem. Like, it's just too much talking too often from a young player on a team that consistently underachieves with such high expectations.
Listen.
But if you just look at it just in a vacuum, that's gold.
It's
That's
brilliantly
gold.
funny, and it's great content, and far be it for me to be complaining about things that give us stuff to show you and talk about.
This is what
But
it's
the
all about.
reality is,
Yes.
Micah Parsons needs to be worried about trying to be the next Lawrence Taylor, not the next Stephen A. Smith. He may have a wonderful career as the next Stephen A. That can start in 10 or 15 years. It doesn't need to start right now. Tim, as you watch that, what goes through your mind?
Yeah, listen, guys should do what they want to do in the offseason. Some guys go back to school. Some guys start podcasts. Some guys, just take a break. I think the important thing for any player, and this was a message I certainly saw, various teams communicate to their players, is know how you make your money. Like know what actually is what generates your income. Know what is the best thing for your career. And look, so are the Cowboys going to lose a bunch of games because Micah Parsons is going on and debating Stephen A. Smith in February? No, they're not. So I think in some ways we can't be too critical of a guy that wants to spend his offseason the way he wants to spend it. I just think it's always important for players to understand how do you make your money? Do you actually make another $1 million if you have 2 more sacks rather than grinding on some podcast all off season to make an extra $100,000? Think about how you make your money. I think that's the most important thing for players to keep in context.
Go ahead, Harry. What do you think of it all?
I'm going to leave it right there. This whole thing is getting to be ridiculous, but you can see that now Micah Parsons is the new lightning rod for the guy to hate. And I dare say that maybe what we're really looking at now is, here's the thing. You think about Skip Bayless and Undisputed, you think about Fox Sports, you think about the studio costs, the amount of people that go together to build that, right? You think about ESPN, of course, and of course all the salaries that they pay the people and the studio, the space in, New York on the waterfront, and the production that goes into it, the amount of manpower and everything else. And then you see a guy on a podcast on Bleacher Report, just one guy, just sitting there having a conversation. Or let's say you have been a journalist, you've been a writer for a newspaper or a magazine for, 10, 20, 30 years. And then you see people like me or Law and things like that that are just Joe the fan, that have a passion and a love, and you see them doing well. It kind of ticks you off because you say, I went to journalism school. I've been a writer. I've been paid. I have access. I have done all these things. Why is this guy who should be out on the football field doing these things and having numbers that are better than me? Jealousy, maybe? Maybe that's the reason why they're trying to kill Micah Parsons. Because they see this is the evolution of sports talk. ESPN and those guys, are you sitting down and watching First Take for 3 hours? Are you sitting down and watching Undisputed for 3.5 hours and listening to Skip Bayless drivel and his bullshit? No. You might watch a clip here or two where they say something that's really just so stupid that's really beneath their knowledge, but they're fighting for relevance. And this is the real reason why they're trying to trash Micah Parsons. And it's funny because they're kind of forgetting about Dak Prescott. They're just leaving Dak alone. Kind of crazy. Peace out.